Hello, I am Malmadrite, and this is Asagao Academy. You have no idea how many takes it took for me to actually pronounce that name correctly. This is from a brand new startup. Well, not brand new, they've been doing this game for quite some time. But a new startup company called Illis Seed, and if that's not how you pronounce it, then I don't know how you pronounce it. A couple of women, one of their names is Claire. Like, I've read their names 5 million times, and it hasn't stuck. I'm sorry, ladies. Basically, the writer and the artist. And when I loaded this game, I'm like, yeah, all the cool kids are doing it. All the big guys are doing it. It's free. Why not? You know? It's not peer pressure. I'm just writing the trend. And then I turned the game on. The opening sequence hit me, and I had a bit of a crisis. Is this really what I'm doing with my life? I took a nice long walk out in the rain. I thought about it hard and got some very concerned looks from the neighbors who I passed by, muttering to myself, as I often do. Let me just turn the game on for you guys. Speaking of which, this runs rather choppily on my system. I had to configure it down to the base everything. Yeah. That's the music. Very authentic. I wish you guys just had a graphics selection because this is pretty choppy. Okay, I'm sorry. It's probably not your voice, it's probably my system. Could you just have like a low graphics setting? And that's why I started with the let's just do this. I thought I was going to be all comical. The train made its way along the gentle curve of the coastline of Japan, whisking me farther and farther from home. Dear Diary, today is the day I finally go to, I already forgot how to pronounce the word, Academy. I couldn't sleep at all last night. When my dad dropped me off at the train station, he held my hand and stroked my hair. That's probably not something your dad should be doing, and that's questionable if you ask me. You look like your mother did. Maybe it's because I'm not a girl. I don't know. That strikes me as a little creepy. But he didn't elaborate. I miss Mom. I miss Dad. But hopefully this will be my fresh start. Yeah, no. Fresh starts aren't that easy to come by. Across from me sat a boy, face half buried in a newspaper. He was deeply entranced in whatever article he was reading, and hadn't spoken a single word to me, even when I asked if I could join him in the last compartment with any available space. He shrugged and nodded and adjusted his newspaper without ever making eye contact. It had been almost an hour, in fact, and he hadn't once looked at me. Notice me, senpai! I'm sorry, I'm not a good comedy guy, and I had a plan for how I was going to act this all out, but then it happened, and I'm totally out of my element here. Devoid of conversation, I took instead to counting the buttons on the pretentiously lush cream-set cushions. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, and so forth. Over and over. Man, lady, you ain't got nothing, do you? Now and again, I turned to look out the window where the trees were blurring by. Sometimes the smeared green would break and reveal the quiet blue of the Sea of Japan. I'm sorry, kid, but second chances aren't that easy. They're just not. Eventually, this rapidity made my stomach churn, and I went back to counting the buttons on the seat cushions. Yeah, I get motion sickness too. 1, 2, 3. The train compartment shuddered around us. My eyes wandered to the boy and his jacket. It wasn't the school-issued blue that I and the other students at the train were wearing. It instead was a green varsity jacket with an embroidered patch poorly sewn in front of it. So you're a first year then. He folded his newspaper neatly in his lap and set it and looked at me with a half-interested glaze, whatever. Did he just catch me staring? Now that the paper was gone, I saw his face. He watched me through heavy-lidded eyes. His hair was immaculately groomed, his teeth straight and blindingly bright. There was something about him, the way the light hit him, that made me look sparkly. Me? He glanced around the compartment empty beside us and laughed. Oh. No, I'm not a first year. I'm a third year. Bitch, get it right. The train began to slow, metal wheels groaning against the tracks. The sudden shift threatened to rob me of whatever was left in my stomach, but I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, willing myself to keep it together. I know how you feel, sister. I know how you feel. What kind of impression would I leave puking on a student before I even arrived at the academy? Not very good. Have you tried sneezing on somebody? That doesn't help either. The boy frowned. I picked up the hem of my cotton skirt. Ladies, don't do that. It sends the wrong message. That's not possible. I've never seen you before. It took me a moment of mouth fishing. A moment of mouth fishing. Wow. It's because I'm a transfer student. He laughed again. A transfer student, huh? We don't get many of those. I removed my acceptance letter from my pocket of my uniform. The paper, heavyweight, off-white, had accumulated creases from reading and reading, as if the words had changed since the last time I had read. The boy took it and studied it, and then handed it back to me.
I'll see you around.
Well then, Hannah, I suppose I'll be seeing you around. He smiled at me as he picked up the suitcase lying next to him. By the time I hiccuped the response, he was already gone from the compartment. I stared out into the empty hallway of the train. It was then that I'd realized I had gotten from my acceptance letter and knew my name, and I never got his. The train settled at the station. I filed out with the rest of the uniformed students. It was early April, and the last frost of winter had come and gone. The trees were already green, their leaves shivering in the occasional gust, weaving through them. The air was mild, only a few clouds hanging in the sky. I walked along the road with the swarm of blue-jacketed bodies looking at the leaves breaking off from the ground. Everyone was buzzed so animatedly around me. I held my suitcase tight in my sweaty hands, its leather bound and worth more than anything it contained. It wasn't far to the school, and I was, for maybe the first time in my life, thankful that what I owned didn't amount to much. I know what you mean, man. My school issued black Oxfords click, click, click on the pavement. A little too much spice there. I walked this walk over and over in my mind. So many nights I lay awake imagining what it would be like to walk from the train station to Asagao. I don't know. I'm just going to pronounce it Asagao. I know. But Asagao it is, because that's what I think of when I see that word. I'm sorry. Kill me later, okay? Academy, this first time. My new steps. I always imagined that everything would change for me on this walk. That somehow everything would be magically different. But as I looked around, I realized nothing had changed. Nothing changes, my dear friends. Nothing ever changes. Especially not war. I hadn't changed. By the time I reached the massive gate to the academy, I forgot all about the disappointment slouching in the back of my throat. The school, framed by its gates twisting black metal, just as beautiful as the glossy photos I saw in the pamphlets. This was it. The Asagao Academy. I glanced around the swarm of students gathering round by the gate. Beyond, its tiny blue people bounced around the academy's main building. A girl pressed a button on the side of the gate. The excitement in the air was almost palpable. A few moments later, the black gate, with great effort, cracked outwards and cleared the path. The rest of the group shifted into motion. I followed along, a sheep in the road. My stomach tied itself into knots. The crowd split off in different directions. For a moment, I panicked. A tired-looking man with a graying hair called out for first years. A cluster of fresh-faced students gathering around him. Hey, look at that girl. I turned. A few feet away, a small group of boys were pointing at me and snickering. Pink hair? Are you kidding me? That's exactly what I said, actually, so I probably shouldn't make too much fun of it. How desperate can you get? Hot shame crawled down my neck. I attached myself to a group of girls, following them a few steps behind. In the distance, cicadas hummed in time to my shoes crunching against the gravel. My hair. It wasn't my fault that my hair looked like this. Luckily, I had found myself at the girls' dormitory. A large sign in the lawn, reading, Primrose House. Primrose. The building dwarfed me in size and sheer intimidation. How many students did Asagao have? As I approached the building, a red-headed girl lingering nearby caught my attention. I looked away, then looked back. She was staring at me. She walked over.
Oh, you must be my roommate!
Why did you narrate this part and not the other ones? I eyed her warily. She was smiling and bouncing in a way that suggested her views on life were akin to a perpetual bouncy castle.
What? Bingo.
I was kind of hoping for more, actually. Of course, you silly. Let me guess. Room 325. I thought back to the paper I'd received a month prior with a list of all the supplies I needed for the school year and my dorm arrangements. Yeah, that's right. She laughed, but I couldn't figure out what was so funny. Was she laughing at me? When I found my roommate was a transfer student, I knew you were going to be a total main character. Tropes! Tropes everywhere! As far as the eye can see! I'm sorry. A what?
Mm-hmm.
When I saw you outside the gate, I knew it was you. I mean, look at that hair. I felt a lump forming in my throat. What the hell was she talking about? She had to be making fun of me. I hadn't spent more than 5 minutes on campus, and I was already being mocked. Welcome to the real world, lady. My hands began to tremble. Is there something wrong with my hair? Her face slacked from an amused smile to a more worried expression. Then she began to laugh again.
Oh, no. It's great. I'm sorry. We're getting off on the wrong foot, aren't we? Oh, gosh.
So why didn't you give full voiceovers to the other characters? Why? I love to hear myself talk as much as the next person, but seriously.
I'm Mai Sasaki. You must be Hana.
I bowed my head.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you, Mai. All your school books are waiting in our room with your welcome letter, and I read the envelope. I hope you're not mad. Tampering with the mail is a federal offense! At least it is in America. Mai started walking toward the dorm front doors. I followed behind like a lost puppy. Did you check in at the front desk already? No, I didn't know I was supposed to. Good. They'll offer to have a staff member give you a tour of the campus. But I can show you around. We don't get many transfer students in year 3, you know. Oh, is that your only bag? Just the one? I'm glad I brought an extra bag of stuff to decorate our room with. I already started. I hope you don't mind. But I did wait to string the lights. I thought we could do it together, you know. She spoke quickly, the words bubbling from her mouth, and left me no time to answer until the end of her monologue. Yeah? Okay, sounds good. She held the front door open for me, and I hurried inside. The girls filled up and down the hallway, howling greetings and exchanging vague niceties that were more often than not, "How was your break?" and "Look how tan you got." It seemed like everyone knew each other. I followed Mai as she led me through the maze of students and up 2 flights of stairs. Each dorm floor looked the same as the last, narrow white doors lining both sides of the pink, pale walls. Thin gold numbers were tacked onto the front of each, the numbers rising as we climbed. You're not missing anything with the campus tour, I promise. Mr. What's-His-Face does them every year, and he's like totally dull. He just drags you around the entire campus and talks in that weird squeaky voice of his. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I smiled, trying to let this calm my nerves. Thanks. We headed down the hallway on the 3rd floor. Maya stopped us in front of a door numbered 325. Here we are. A faint smell of potpourri wafted through the room. The walls, like the hallway, were a soft, powdery pink. Maya had already defaced them with a tapestry of posters. Defaced. Defaced. Why the hell am I doing this? Some of the photos were of cats, but most were of male models and rugged musicians. A bunk bed, 2 writing desks with wooden chairs, a small dresser, and a mirrored vanity, all clearly provided by the school. were the only pieces of furniture in the tiny room. The top bunk was already covered in neatly tucked blankets and throw pillows of clashing patterns and colors. The bottom bunk had a snuggle, stiff-looking pillow and a thin cotton blanket. I didn't need to touch it to know it was horribly itchy. Speaking of horribly itchy, excuse my eyes. Damned allergy season. I must have grimaced, because Miles smiled quickly at me. I brought way too many pillows and blankets. I always overpack. I went to Italy over break and Mom got really mad at me because I brought 5 bags, but we were there only for a week. She laughed and pulled several blankets and pillows from her bunk and rearranged them neatly on mine. A sudden twinge of guilt and embarrassment hit me.
Perfection.
There. That's much better. Thanks, Mai. I placed my suitcase on the bottom bunk and began to unpack its contents. Several changes of clothing, pens and pencils, empty notebooks, a few photographs of my father, a dilapidated stuffed rabbit, an old portable radio, and a small black box. Maya opened the curtains and the sunlight poured in. So, where are you from? I slid the now empty suitcase under the bottom bunk. About 2 hours north of here. A small town called Armor Sioux. You probably haven't heard of it. Hipster. I'm just gonna call it Armor Sioux. I set the stuffed rabbit, Mr. Bunny, on my bed beside a purple and teal throw pillow. Oh, did you go to a different boarding school, or? No, I went to a public school down the street from my house. Been there, done that.
Really?
Public school? What was that like? Were the students mean? Did you have a lot of friends? I always went to private schools. My parents work a lot, and my dad goes overseas. So I think they stuck me here for convenience. Okay. Taking a break from this for a minute, so I can wipe the sludge from my eyes, but also to inform you that anybody who wants to come to public school in order to get a taste of real life, stay where you're at. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean, but you really are better off where you're at. Just saying. Now, back to the gripping story. Oh, hey, what's that? I removed an ornate patterned origami crane from the black box and was sitting on the unclaimed writing desk. Oh, this. My mother made it for me. A long time ago. I set it beside a stack of thick textbooks, which I assumed were provided for me.
Aww.
Wow, it's so pretty. I've never seen paper like that before. Oh, the lights. Let me get them. Maya went to her own desk and opened the drawer and pulled out a long, tangled string of fairy lights. I thought these would look nice. Here, help me string them up. She grabbed the container of push pins and then pulled her wooden desk chair out and over to one wall. I did the same with my own. Together we pinned the lights around the perimeter of the room. Is this really necessary? I mean, I've never been to a fancy-pants private boarding school, but I don't think this is in the regulations. How was the train ride over? Did you meet anyone? No, not really. I was in a compartment with some guy, and...
What?
Some guy, huh? Was he cute? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't even get his name. Maya seemed disappointed for a moment, and then perked back up. You'll have to point him out to me if you see him again. Oh, okay. Once we finished stringing the lights, Maya climbed down from her chair and brushed her hands together triumphantly.
Yeah!
Done. Okay, now it's time for lunch. The food here is pretty good. There is a ramen place down the street from campus, like out of this world, but the school only lets us leave campus on the weekends. Maya walked to the window. We could go today because it's Sunday and it's pretty nice out, but I guess you want to go to the cafe since you're new here. We could. She was suddenly interrupted by her own enthusiastic laughter. Oh my gosh, Mimi Santos totally just tripped outside and fell on her face. I saw it! Oh, is that mean to laugh? Maybe I shouldn't have. Yes, it is mean, and you are a terrible, terrible person. Oh well, anyways, let's go eat. I am totally starved. She led me out of the room before I even had the chance to respond. Darned alphas. The cafeteria was buzzing with students excited for the new year. The only people as nervous as I felt at the table of the skittish, wide-eyed first years. I stepped into line behind Maya, taking an empty plastic tray. We shuffled through, asking for helpings from the silky cafeteria workers, when we passed through something that looked good. With full trays, Maya led me straight into a table in the back, where a few students were already sitting. Maya sat down and I looked at the seat across from her. Hi, Maya. How was your break? It was good. I went to Italy and Spain. Dad fell off a jet ski and broke his ankle.
Uh-huh.
It's better now, though. The highlight of your vacation is your father being what could have been very seriously injured. Oh. Well, that's nice. I expected to be introduced, but the girl turned back to her group of friends, and I turned back to me. She began to assault her food with a fork, and tell me in a practically minute-by-minute account that her fleeting romance last summer with a boy she met on the beach didn't go further than a few salty kisses. I sat back and let Maya talk. For the first time since arriving in campus, I felt like I was finally able to breathe. I picked up my Brussels sprouts and studied Maya as she spoke. The more she talked, the more I began to notice the small details about her.
Well...
She had a high songbird voice.
What?
She was dynamic, her face twisting this way into exaggerated expressions as she spoke. She laughed often. She intimated people wildly in unflattering voices, seemingly unrelenting to her actual opinion of them. But most notably, she talked a lot. A lot. That's all you got, man. That's all you got? Bro. I didn't find this particularly annoying, as it filled the silence. She hardly ever asked questions that required my full attention. Just as Maya was rounding off a shockingly detailed account of the time she'd accidentally walked in on her friend's older brother in the act of changing, a flash of the family green car caught my eye. I glanced over. That's him! Who? I leaned across the table and whispered just in case she could hear me through the ambient chatter in the lunchroom. The boy from the train. That's him.
What?
Jared? Yeah, with the weird green jacket and swoopy hair. Swoopy! Swoopy hair. Yeah, I'll buy that. We'll call it Swoopy. He'd just picked up his tray and walking past us, something seemed to catch his eye. Hmm? Oh, you! I looked at him, suddenly realizing he was talking to me.
Anna!
Anna, I met you on the train. How are things settling down here? Really well. I found my roommate and she's been helping me out. I gestured to Mai, who was thunderstruck in fact. Looking around, everyone was. People stopped eating and turned and stared at Jared and me, my shoulders bunched around my neck. Well, if you ever need any help, I'll be around. Third year, right? I nodded.
All right.
Some of my friends are in that year. Of course, they can't compare to me, but I'll give them a heads up to look out for you. He flashed a dazzling smile. Thin wings. It's the least I can do for such a cute girl. Well, I'll see you around. I watched a torrent of thoughts raging through my head as he took a seat next to a bunch of guys who were all wearing the same jackets. That's Jared. She tore her eyes away from him and looked at me.
He's so cute.
He's the most beautiful guy in school.
Oh, Jared.
I can't believe he just looked at me. I turned around and looked at Mai. Her cheeks were glowing in an indecent pink. Indecent pink. What the... Why do they all wear those jackets? Aren't all the guys supposed to wear blue blazers as part of their uniform? No, they're allowed to. They're... You know Jared? The girl turned back around and was looking at me with sudden interest. Did I know him? I only talked to him on the train for a few minutes. So not really. We weren't friends or anything. But looking around at Maya and this girl, they were the only ones who seemed interested. Everybody seemed to be listening in. They seemed so surprised that he talked to me. Maybe a little white lie wouldn't hurt. Oh. She looked me up and down, sniffed and turned away. Don't mind Mimi. She was just trying to get in with you. Get in with me? What does that even mean? I mean, why? Well, you asked me about those guys and their jackets, right? Those are their Normal Boots Club jackets. They're... What? What's Normal Boots Club? A club we have here at school. It's like totally exclusive and full of only the coolest students. They get together and play video games. Or something. Or something. Or something. Lady, if you don't know why, then you can just... Well, it is appropriately high school, I can say that at least. That one right there is John. John Tron. His bird's name is Jacques. Or Jack, if you speak English. John is the president of the drama club at school. Next to him is PBG. He and John founded the Normal Boots Club together. PBG is one of the best soccer players on the team. There's Gerard. People call him the completionist. He is the biggest itty-bitty kitty collection I have ever seen. Next to him is Jared, also known as Pro Jared. He's a model. Then there's Snatchbag. Everyone calls him Snatch. He's like crazy smart. And those guys over there are Paul, Nick, and Josh. They write a column in the school newspaper called Continue? Question mark. Quotation mark. Paul, the one standing up, is the student council president. And the guy on the left is Shane. He knows more about video games than anyone. Ever! She exhaled a dreamy sigh into her mashed potatoes. Well, I suppose that's the appropriate place to put those, yeah. So, how would someone, join the Normal Boots Club? Shell out at least 10,000? Okay, shell out some cash, get some ads, have at least 10,000 subscribers, and then no. Okay, so let's put this in simple terms. Step 1, money. Step 2, subscribers. Step 3, profit. You don't choose the boots, Hannah. The boots choose you. What does that even mean? Why are you asking that now? You should have been asking that before you get off the train. You have to be presented with the boots to be in the club, and they're super selective. What are the boots? The club has its boots statue. It's like the one on their patches, but it's gold-plated. It's their mascot, I guess. They do this weird initiation ritual with it. Yeah, they find some guy off the street, and then they take him to the grotto, and... Ritual? I hear they fill a room with candles and wear those totally creepy robes. This 2-year girl said she saw it once, and they were all like chanting around the booths, and it sounded like they were talking backwards. See, I wasn't that far off at all. Soon my powers will grow exponentially. But I don't believe her. And even if it is true, I don't care if they're a cult, because they're all really hot. Do they have lots of friends? Yeah, tons of friends. I'd say they're the most popular kids in school. I mean, everyone in the school totally looks up to them. I bet they could get any girl in school, too. Or boy, for that matter. Well, somebody had to bring it up. Hey, are you gonna eat your cake? I shook my head and pushed a little plastic tray across the table to her. For the remainder of lunch, I listened to my talk about Jared through mouthfuls of half-dissolved frosting. Back at the dorm, I sorted through the pile of textbooks the school left for me. My radio was playing a poppy tune, equal parts music to static. Maya fervently scribbled in a notebook at her desk. I hunched over poor Poppy.
Hey!
Hey, Mai.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't bother to look up. Am I supposed to have a textbook for History 309? She shuffled through the papers on her desk before producing a thick textbook. A diminutive man in a powdered wig frowned at me from the cover. Yeah, this one. I sighed. I don't have that one. The school must have missed it. Maya shrugged and set the textbook back in her pile. They have a bunch at the library. You can just check one out. Where is the library? Maya ruffled through her textbook notes and wrote something down. She tore the page out and handed to me a crudely drawn map. Oh, okay. Well, I'll be back in a little bit. See, that's how I do it too. I always ask for the fire extinguisher plans. Not the fire. The fire escape plans, so that I can draw out the map in my mind. It took me at least 20 minutes to find the library by the time I realized I was holding the map upside down. I've done that before too. The sun was setting. The library was much larger than I expected, and the walls lined from floor to ceiling with books of all sizes on rough wooden shelves. Intimidated, I headed for the front desk. A recognizably green and gray jacket was bent behind the counter. Normal boots? I briefly considered running away.
Hey.
Can I help you? Too late. Yeah, the school forgot to give me one of my textbooks. I was told I could get it here. Oh, which one is it? The History 309 textbook. He stepped from behind the counter and motioned for me to follow. We dodged between aisles in a comfortable silence. He seemed friendly enough. I should say something. What was his name again? Shane? Gerard? John?
Satch.
Of course he worked here. He chuckled, dimples appearing in his cheeks. Yeah, I'm the librarian's assistant. It's my second year and I love it. I get to help people find books that speak to them. His eyes twinkled like a kid's on Christmas. Your book's right down here. He stopped at a row of thick, dusty books. Was all this history? He pulled out the book with the powdered wig man I saw earlier. Thanks. He waved his hand. It was nothing. Do you need help with anything else? I wanted to make a good impression on the Normal Boots Club, but I hadn't come up with anything. No, thanks.
Copacetic.
What? Excuse me while I wipe the allergy gunk from my eye again. You're welcome. As we headed back through the Cavernous Library, my unease melted away. We weren't talking, but just being near him felt like being wrapped in a soft blanket. I resisted the urge to snuggle up to him. We neared the front desk, stepping around a clump of students. As we passed, one of them shifted. Something white flew past my place. A thick piece of triangular paper lay at my feet. I bent over to pick it up. It was surprisingly heavy. There was a quarter inside of it. If I had just been a hair slower, it would have hit me in the face. The students snickered, and I recognized the boys that made fun of my hair this morning. I know my heart dropped. I scanned in memory for anything I might have done to offend them, but I came up with nothing. My hand started to shake. I hid it behind my back, trying to think of some way to defend myself. Why did you do that? What do you mean? We were just messing around. Are you suggesting we did it on purpose? I faltered. There was nothing I could say. I was outnumbered. They would twist my words around, no matter how straightforward I was. No. Sorry. One of the boys held out his hand for the paper. I inched closer to give it to him, angry at myself for being so compliant. I wish I were. A gentle warmth closed over my hand and took the paper from me. Snatch examined the paper closely. I see what the problem is. Your aim would be better if you cut the corners before you folded it. Oh, sick burn, brah! He placed the paper on the table. The boy looked at him in sheer awe. Be careful with it, though. You almost hit her, and that would have been awful. My hands began to sweat as panic shifted through me, afraid of the response, but, geez, we're sorry. We'll be careful next time. Yeah, it was an accident. They apologized? Thanks. I appreciate it. He gave them a wide smile and continued down off the aisles, and I followed closely behind him, my legs weak. Don't tell me they stopped because of him, simply because I was with him. I wanted to thank him, but my heart was pounding so hard, I knew my voice would shake. We reached the front of the counter. He scanned the history book. My lips trembling as I willed myself to say anything to thank him. He tilted his head to the side. What books do you like to read? good book. I think it'd be right up your alley, if you don't mind me saying so. He reached under the counter and pulled a thick green book and passed it to me. A man in black stood at the front, hugging a woman in royal robes. It's long, but it's one of my favorites. The Princess Betrothed. I know things can be tough transferring from middle school. If you're ever worried, just read this. It'll transport you 100 miles away in a second. Well, if I were her... Tears stung my eyes, so I ducked my head. Thank you. For more than just the books. You're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I got your name. My name is Hannah.
Hannah.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Hannah. Let me know how you like the book. I will. That couldn't have gone better. Not only was Satch impossibly kind, but being around him felt easy, refreshing. Like being doused in the mist of a waterfall. Oh gosh, what was I thinking? My cheeks hot, I left the library. 2 surprisingly heavy books under one arm. I settled into bed, eager to get started with my new reading material, but Maya was sitting at her desk carving a pencil idly into the pages of a notebook. Every few minutes she released a long, drawn-out sigh as the lead from her pencil whined against the paper. I lowered my book and took the bait. Is something wrong, Mai? She let out another dreary sigh. I hope Jared notices me this year. Senpai, notice me. Does Jared know you like him? Mai whirled around in frightened shock. I don't like Jared. Oh. I closed my book and set it aside, silently. Have you at least tried talking to him? No. I mean, I have before. Why don't you try again? She bobbed her head from side to side, considering it like it had never crossed her mind before. Yeah, maybe I could do that. Satisfied, I picked my book back up. Have you ever had a boyfriend, Hannah? Me? No, never.
Really?
Never? Never. I bet you 10,000 yen that you meet a totally cute boy in here and fall in love with him by the end of the school year. You're crazy. I buried my face in my book, barring Mai from any further discussion. Fall in love by the end of the year? Me? If I were a betting kind of person, I'd take that bet. That is the point of the game! I awoke the next morning with what felt like a lizard in my throat. Maya was already up, shuffling through her school bag with an enigmatic grin. The first day of school.
Hannah!
You're finally awake! Her voice sliced through the air like a knife, and I winced. She was definitely a morning person. It's not the morning part I mind, it's the pitch. Sorry, it's just my ears. It's time for the first day of school. Aren't you excited? I can't wait to see what's going to happen. What do you mean? Is something special happening today? Sometimes strange always happens on the first day of school, especially to someone like you. She winked.
What?
Someone like me? You know what I mean. She smiled and started messing with a pile of papers on her desk. Shaking my head, I got out of bed, pulled my uniform out of my closet. White pajamas, sweat as I held the gold vest and blue jacket. It was really possible for things to be different than they were at home. What if the problem wasn't actually the school? I shook through the thoughts in my head and changed into my uniform. What is it? You look so cute.
Really?
Heat creeped up my neck.
Yeah!
Completely. Your hair matches your uniform so well. You look like a flower blooming straight out of the ground. I wish her the chick is straight. water stung the back of my eyes, and I turned back to packing my backpack. Why was I getting worked up about something like this? I must have gotten less sleep than I thought. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I'm just happy. How dumb was that? I started crying at the first sign of someone being nice to me. It happens, okay? It happens. Don't worry about it. I took a deep breath and tried to steady my nerves. What an oddly menacing thud. Oh, the air left my lung as something like a horseshoe slammed against my back. You'll do just fine. Don't worry. This is going to be awesome. I stiffly peered over my shoulder. That was you.
What?
Maya stood behind me, her hand raised. Somehow she had the strength of a bodybuilder. Nothing. I was just about to zip my bag up when I spotted the book that Satch gave me lying next to my nightstand. He said that if I ever needed to be transported somewhere far away, I could take it with me. It was pretty good so far. Maybe it would be smart to bring it along, just in case I had no one to talk to between class periods. I would need it for my first day of class. I put it into my already overfull bag, biting my lip. It never hurt to be prepared. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go! Stick with me and you'll be fine. I opened the door and together we stepped into the hallway, merging into a steady flow of chittering girls and perfume. And I'm going to stop this here because this is getting way too ridiculous and going on far longer than I had anticipated. So, that's that, all right. That's a thing. Okay, first impressions. Game was a bit choppy. Then again, I am on a minimalist system, so probably more my fault than the actual game. I have never met a girl that acts like that. Like any of the female characters that I have been presented with so far. I have never met anyone like the pink-haired girl. I have never met anyone like the brunette. I have never met anyone like the snobby little person. Actually, yeah, I probably have met someone like the snobby little person. But I suppose that's the point. You know, characters in anime and video games don't actually act like real people. And of course, the the normal Boots guys are full of themselves. So, yeah, but still, why the heck did I do this? I'll see how everybody responds to it, and maybe I'll pick it up again. But for now, I have to go.